You are listening to Best in Seattle Real Estate with host Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420. This podcast is for real estate agents. Tina interviews the best of the best agents in the greater Seattle market. Learn strategies and the mindset needed to be your best. If you're looking to take your real estate business to the next level, this show is for you.
Welcome to Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by Hubbard Radio Seattle. I am your host and local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. My show is with real estate agents for real estate agents. My lineup is exclusive and reserved for the best of the best in the greater Seattle real estate market based on closed transactions in the last 12 months. If you are a real estate agent looking to level up your game, you are in the right place. My guest today is here to share what he has learned over the years that has taken him to the top in the real estate field. Now in studio, Brett Ahlin. Lamb and Company Real Estate. Brett, thank you so much. Brett, thank you so much for being here today on my show.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Brett has closed 59 transactions in the last 12 months, and that earns him the title of industry leader. And he is here to share today his secrets to success. Data provided and verified by MMI, Mobility Mobile Market Intelligence. I would also like to give a big shout out to my producer over at Hubbard Radio, Benny. Thanks,
Hi, Tina.
Benny.
Yeah, good to see you again. Summer's already flown right by.
I know it's gone by quickly, and there is a lot of things that we need to do behind the scenes. And without Benny over the years, I absolutely would not be here. So Benny, thanks again. Big shout out to you.
You're quite welcome. It's about 58 things, not 59. So I've got to step my game up to Brett. So, I mean, we're all good.
Yeah, exactly. You are one deal away.
Yes. All right.
Oh my gosh. All right. Before we get started and I have a conversation with Brett, my guest, a little bit about him. He's been in real estate for 8 years. 8 years is a long time, a lot of time to gain experience, especially with the number of transactions that he's done. But I want you to listen to that as a real estate agent because 8 years and already the success that he has, again, 59 transactions in the last 12 months. That is why he's here on the show. And you need to stay tuned to listen to what he is doing. So he's celebrating his 4 years of marriage next week. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Coming
Thanks.
up. Yeah,
Next Thursday.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And they have an amazing 5-month-old year son. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Brett says that family is one of the most important things in his life. Fun fact, before getting into the real estate, he was a youth pastor, and he's taken love for people into business and believes that this is the reason why he's been successful is because it really is all about people. So just keeping that in mind, how you treat people and how the same that you want to be treated is the first thing to being successful in real estate, correct, Brett?
Totally, 100%.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about where does majority of your business come from and how do you foster those relationships? Because a lot of success is how you interact with people, obviously, but being strategic on how you get those business opportunities and then how you stay in contact with them, how you foster those relationships, your follow up and your follow through. So can you talk a little bit about that, Brett?
You bet. So I have two ways I get do business and get most of my business. One of them is the team I'm on at Lamb & Co. They do an amazing job of bringing in a certain amount of leads, and then it's our job as agents to turn them. We usually get a certain number, and then it's our job to they're cold leads, and then we got to go out and do it. And so that's one side. Another side, really for me, is referral business. Being in this about 8 years, doing between 50 and 60 deals a year. Client follow-up and making sure that clients know who I am, checking in quarterly, celebrating pregnancies, celebrating graduation, celebrating engagements. I'm Facebook friends with the vast majority of my clients. I have a CRM that I live in. I also follow up Facebook quite often. And me being intentional and being relational with those people, a large amount of my business is referrals at this point. So people that I've done, 4 or 5 years ago, I'm still in contact with, and I reach out, quarterly, sometimes even more than that. And so that's a massive part of my business.
Yeah, your high touch follow up and follow
Yeah.
and strategically, it's kind of like when you look at a target, it's not really about targeted marketing, it's about strategic marketing.
For sure.
Following up and following through strategically with those people. And I love how you mentioned cold leads, because a lot of times people think, oh yeah, I can't do those. Those are very difficult. And so in order to do the business that you're doing, on cold leads, that even puts it at a whole nother level. But I want you to hear what Brett just says. It's about, working those cold leads, but then turning them into the warm leads so that you can really court those clients. Because a lot of people, they get a client, they close a client, and then they are constantly moving on to the new one.
Yep.
Take advantage of those new opportunities that you have, and then you're building your business. And I imagine, Brett, as you get longer in the industry, you're probably not going to be working as much of those cold leads because you'll have so much business with the warm business
Yeah.
you've been courting over the many years in the industry. Would you agree?
Yeah, and in the first couple of years, wasn't getting a lot of referrals, right? So the first couple of years were a lot of the leads that were coming from my team, which is awesome and such a big plus of why I'm still there, right? I've been at Lamb & Co the entire time, and there's a reason why. They back me, support me, an amazing support staff that does stuff. And so the beginning though, was just busy and didn't know follow up. The first 2-3 years, I didn't have a CRM. I would reach out to clients maybe once a year and like be like, oh, I hope they remember me. And then I really pivoted about, I want to say about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, like, hey, like I need to actually like stay in touch with these people. Like if clients are going to come back to me, clients want to see that I'm invested in them and knowing what's going on in their personal life and touching base and seeing what's up and not just shooting them a text and say, hey, is there anything I can do for you, but actually have value, right? So even as simple as in January, sending out settlement statements, the final ones that escrow does too, and they have it, right? But that's a touch point. That's a way of value, right? Or once a year being like, hey, here are, having price evals for every one of my clients that have sold, like just a quick email, right? With a bomb me videoing at the bottom, for them to see a face, little things like that. The reach outs, you have to have value and you have to be personal, right? You can't just be like, hey, how's it going? Like I don't know. I didn't find that being a lot of that wasn't very successful. So I had to pivot how I was doing that.
And that's a good shout out as well for our real estate agents that are listening. You really have to monitor the success that you're having, and if you're not seeing success, how do you need to pivot to adjust that? And it's really easy to navigate through that if you watch the best of the best. And that's why the why behind this show is so I could really create a space. It's not watching what other real estate agents are doing. It's watching what the best of the best are doing because they're getting success. When you're looking at pivoting, find out and talk with those industry leaders because most industry leaders come from a place of contribution and
For
they will
sure.
know what they're doing if you ask them, right?
For
And
sure.
so
Uh,
follow what the successful ones are doing.
I had an agent that I worked with for a long time in my office, Erica Hardwick, who follow up is like her, like she's the best, and she's now transitioned out of real estate to doing high level sales in a different industry. But her involvement with clients was inspirational, and she kind of went through a bunch of stuff with me, and I absorbed so much of it and tweaked some of it for myself too. But the same thing, I was able to learn a lot and really make sure that I added value to the people that I continued to foster relationships with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned CRM. You have to have a relationship database management.
Yep.
What do you use? Is it company or is it outside of the company?
Company one, it's Follow
Okay.
Up Boss is the
Yeah.
Follow Up Boss is the one
Oh
that I
yeah.
use. And then I kind of tweak some stuff off that too. Like I have, VIP spreadsheets that I have, offline that I kind of monitor. And my wife does help monitor that stuff for me too, because obviously as I'm out and about doing stuff, my wife's a stay-at-home mom. And so when he's napping, she manages that stuff. She lets me know, hey, quarterly stuff, this is coming up. We need to do this. And so she really helps me stay organized with that.
That is awesome. Yeah. And I
Yep.
believe in embracing your strengths and hiring out your weaknesses. To have success, you have to have somebody that's helping you out. So
You
it's
bet.
your bride's able to jump
You
in a
bet.
little bit of that as well. So we might
Hmm.
have talked about it, but what is your single most important reason that you feel that you've seen success?
Yeah, I think people want real relationships. I think one of the biggest reasons why I was nervous to get into real estate when I thought about it was I had a really bad connotation, like a bad thought about real estate agents, salesmen, kind of like sleazy, like just about dollar signs and money. And like I really wanted to, like if I was going to get into it, I wanted to make sure that I was different. And I know that sounds super cliche, right? Like everyone thinks that way, but that's truly like how I do my business. Like I don't want anyone to feel like they're just dollar signs to me. So whether you're a $200,000 client or a $2 million client, I'll work with you. You're going to be treated the exact same way. You're going to get the exact same service. I don't hand off clients. So 300, 400, $500,000 clients, I'm not handing off. Now, some people would say like that's not the best way to scale business, but for me, like I've consistently been doing 50 plus deals for the last 4 or 5 years. And like for me, this works well. Right. And so, and I don't do a lot of $200,000 deals, but like, no matter who you are, where you're at, like I'm willing to work with you, and that's like for me, like every person has a story and every person is valuable. And like it's amazing when you treat people that way. They feel that and they know that, and they also want to refer every single person they know to you because they know that they're going to get the exact same experience.
Yeah.
And so kind of cliche, hard to totally like measure up how that is, but that is 100% how it happens.
Yeah. Well, saying and doing are two different things. And you obviously are doing what you said you were going to do coming into the industry. And you show up, I can, tell just your authentic self. And if you're listening to the show right now, I think that's a big shout out. You have to show up as your authentic self. You need to do things the way that works for you.
Yeah.
As Brett said, he had to make some adjustments to things to work the way he works, and go with your authentic self, do the work. Do the follow up and follow through, build those relationships, treat people like you want to be treated, and you'll see success in your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming up next on Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, continued conversation with Brett Ahlin of Lamb & Co. Real Estate.
So when submitting an offer on a home, the lender your buyer chooses to work with can make or break the offer based on their local reputation. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, has a stellar reputation in the real estate community. She has been awarded Partner of the Year from Washington Realtors, Media of the Year from Seattle King County Realtors, and Member of the Year from Women's Council of Realtors. With over 25 years in the mortgage industry, Tina has worked hard to establish her place in the mortgage space. For more information on how Tina is helping her buyers stand out next to their competition, go to TinaMitchellTeam.com. That's TinaMitchellTeam.com.
Welcome back to Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by Hubbard Radio Seattle. I'm your host and local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Continued conversation with Brett Ahlin of Lamb & Company Real Estate. Are you a real estate agent looking for that one thing to take your business to new heights? Brett is here to motivate you to be your best. You will learn what he is doing and how you can implement his practices into your real estate business. Today, Brett is sharing his strategies and mindset needed to be the best in the industry. Brett is here to inspire other agents to level up their real estate business. Brett, thank you again so much for being here today with me.
You bet.
So, Brett, how do you manage your work-life balance? You're celebrating your anniversary with your beautiful bride next week of 4 years. You've got a 5-month little baby, and you say that family's most important. So that means that business does come second to your family, and you still closed 49 transactions in the last year. So how do you do that? How do you balance it all?
My wife is the best partner I could ever ask for. I am a firm believer that when you get into real estate or any high pressure, high sales job, your partner is signing up too. And for me, I was fortunate enough to have just started real estate a year prior before I met my wife. And so my wife kind of has been along for the ride the whole time. And so phone calls on vacations, phone calls, stepping out at dinners, sometimes, at family events, etc. Like that is our life. And that doesn't mean that they are coming second in those moments, but those phone calls and those things that happen are why my family gets to have a really good life. And so we balance really well. We have a really open and transparent relationship, and communication's big for us. And so early on, my wife was like, I don't care whenever you work. Can you just give me a heads up if you think you're going to have to work today? And that's fine, as long as I know. And I said, totally. And so before we go out, for the day, if we go do something, I usually say, hey, I'm going to have some calls, around this time. And she's like, cool. And that's a huge thing for us. My wife doesn't work, and she's raising her son at home, and so we do a lot of family days. Typically Mondays are family days for us, and so it doesn't mean I'm off, but I'm out of the office, and so that means phone calls. And so, but we also do day trips and we do things. And so that's kind of the balance is your work never turns off. You're working all the time, 365 days a year. But a good partner makes that easy to do.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway is she knew what she was getting into. But I think
Yeah,
if you're listening to what how Brett is explaining that, you can be available and accessible all the time, but when you're not doing something, you can be have that highest quality of interaction and relationship with the people that are important to you, right? And I think it's the quality, not the quantity necessary. I mean, you have people that are at home, dads, and they're watching sports, paying no attention to their kids, not playing with their kids, and so there's
yeah,
a difference there. If you have that quality time, that really is what's important. And I think also that you can decide what works for you as well here, and depending on what type of team that you have to support you, and how you navigate through that. You can have blocks of times where you've got on your voicemail, hey, I'm going to be unavailable until after 3 o'clock. I'll return your phone call then. I don't think that any client is not going to understand that you're currently meeting with another client. You're tied up for 2 hours, right? And if you happen to
totally.
I'm currently in a client meeting, nobody's going to go, wow, Brett didn't call me back. He's in a client meeting for 2 hours, right?
Yeah,
So you can kind of break it. That's what I do with with my voicemail. Now, when you're working cold leads, it's a little different conversation, not enough time to really dive into that. But if you want to maximize the business that you're getting from those cold leads, if something comes over to you, you need to do it right away. But that doesn't have to be a long conversation. You can get with them and get something on your calendar, and that can take less than 5 minutes. And then you can get back and have that quality time with your family. So a lot of thought process in strategically positioning and deciding how you're going to manage that, but you can do it because Brett is proven that he can and is doing it. So,
hmm
Brett, what do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
yeah. Honestly, I love that I kind of manage my own schedule, and obviously I work all the time, like I do, but I love that I am in charge and that every day is different. I'm not meant to be in the office every day. I'm not meant to do the same thing every day, clock in at 8, clock out at 5. Like that's not how my brain's wired. I love that I get to work at different coffee shops at different cities, and if my family and I are traveling, I can work remote doing that too. And so I think freedom and having me being like the boss of that is like the best thing ever. And if I want to work, I work, and if I don't, and for me, I always want to work, and so I always work, But I really love having the freedom of that, and I think that also allows my family the best that I can give them too, because there are moments, where I don't have a boss being like, "Hey, you need to work at 9 o'clock at night to get this thing done." Right? I have friends that are in investment banking, that are in other high pressure jobs, and they're home 10, 11, 12 at night because their boss told them to, and like for me, like I am, the one that's in charge and my family is first. And so I am able to prioritize that. And that's what I love.
Yeah, you can definitely in this industry work hard and play hard.
For
That's
sure.
what I do. I work hard and I
hmm
play hard, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So you have to make a decision if you're listening to the show today and you're real estate. You have to make a decision if this industry is for you, and that you have the skills and the passion to be your own boss, because you got to get out there and you got to hustle on your own. Nobody's going to tell you what to
Yeah.
do and to do it. You got to
And
get
you got
out.
to be driven.
You
You got to be
have to be
driven, right? If you and that's the thing, like for me, like I am so driven, and again, my family is one of my biggest things. I want my kid to go to college for free. My kid's going to go to private school his whole life. Like, those things cost, money. So I know what I'm working for in life, and so for me, like I have a drive. I don't need somebody telling me that I need to go work. Like I'm waking up every day ready to hustle. And so I know what I'm working for. So I
drive
think
and
I think
hustle.
hmm hmm
Yeah, that is great. Last final words for our listeners. If you're talking to a real estate agent that's just really struggling out there right now, listening to this show, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest piece of advice that I can give is surround yourself with people that are 5 steps ahead of you, that are better than you. Like for me, I actively seek small groups, one-on-one coffee meetings with people that are 5 years ahead of where I want to be in life. You never want to be the most successful person in the room. You want to be the least successful person in the room, right? Or around that, right? And so for me, being able to, humble myself and say, okay, like I'm ready to go into this room and meet with these people just to learn from them, because they're better than me in everything. And so I think, surrounding yourself with people that are better than you and not trying to look like you have it all together, whether that be on Instagram, on social media. I think that's a big thing. A lot of times on Instagram and other things, agents, it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm this massive successful agent that's a luxury agent, et cetera. Like, just surround yourself with people that are better than you, and being able to do that, like that's a huge thing, because you can learn so much from them.
Absolutely. Well, just like real estate, you don't want to be the most expensive home in the neighborhood, right?
No way.
You gotta have the money to get into the neighborhood.
That's right.
In real estate, you really don't have to have the success to get in and align yourself with people like Brett, because again, they come from contribution, and you just have to be willing to reach out to them and go,
Sure.
You know what? I want to be like you. I want to do what you're doing. Can you, let me take you out for a cup of coffee and just brainstorm with you. And Brett's going to come from a contribution and do that. But then he's aligning himself with people that are better than him, so he can continue to level up, because we're always wanting to get to that next level. So I want to thank you so much, Brett, for coming in and being on my show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. To watch more the recording of Brett and other industry leaders in the real estate space, you can go to bestinseattlerealestate.com, or you can catch my show on my show YouTube channel. Tina Mitchell, your host and your local mortgage expert, making a difference in the industry, one interview at a time. Until next time.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited.